Here's the truth most people never say out loud. You can't think your way out of OCD. You can't wait for the fear to disappear or for the right moment to arrive. The shift begins the moment that you commit fully to doing the hard thing, even while you're feeling afraid and uncomfortable. Most people never make it that far. And this episode is about that missing piece, the quiet force that turns knowledge into transformation, and that is commitment. Now, I don't mean just saying you're committed, but actually showing up when you're really not feeling in the mood to do that. Commitment is all about learning that we can do those difficult things and allowing ourselves to lean into that, rather than playing it safe all the time. I've spent years dealing with OCD, and I'll be honest, for a long time, I didn't know how to actually commit to doing those difficult things, the things that would actually move the needle for me. I wanted to change. I knew kind of what I should do, but when it came to acting consistently, I kept hesitating. And if you're finding this helpful, I offer a free discovery call. To get that, you can head over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. The one thing that did really help back then, when OCD was still kind of running the show for me, was actually running, physical running. Something that I found very helpful that I could commit to was, maybe going running 3 or 4 times a week. And I knew that when I did this, it helped me to feel better. It got the endorphins flowing. It kind of produced more dopamine. It made me feel better about myself. Of course, it didn't make the OCD disappear, but it did make it a little bit easier to manage. Running gave me something that I could commit to even on those hard days. And in some ways, it really kind of became my lifeline. If it wasn't for that, I honestly don't know how I would have got through some of the worst moments of my life when OCD was really running things. But running only got me so far. Real change happened when I started committing to something deeper, to do the uncomfortable things that I'd been avoiding. And that meant tolerating the anxiety. It meant letting thoughts be there without trying to solve or fix them. And it meant choosing not to ruminate, even when every fiber of my body was screaming at me to do so. And this is what no one tells you. Commitment is the bridge between knowing and doing. You can know everything about OCD on an intellectual level, how thoughts work, why compulsions backfire, what acceptance actually is. But if you're not committed to putting it all into practice, day in and day out. Another example of this in my own life is when I decided to quit my job and become a coach. That was terrifying in a different way. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know if it would work, but something in me had shifted. I was no longer kind of waiting to feel certain. I was acting, with the uncertainty there in the background. The same principle applies in OCD recovery. You have to commit to walking away from intrusive thoughts, even when you really would prefer to just figure them out. You have to commit to leaning into exposure, even when it's brutal and really difficult. And you have to commit to values-based action when you feel numb, unsure, or lost. And here's the thing, you won't feel ready. You'll want reassurance, you'll want guarantees. But real commitment doesn't wait for clarity. It creates its own clarity through action. So ask yourself this. What are you actually avoiding right now that matters to you? What values, what recovery steps, what uncomfortable truth have you been dancing around? You don't need to be perfect at this, but you do need to commit. Not for the next year, but actually just for today, for this hour, for this moment, to do something altogether different right now, to see what it is that's been blocking you and it's been holding you back, and making a conscious decision to say, you know what, I am going to take one committed step today in the direction which I know will start leading me out of the OCD. And it doesn't need to be perfect. So often I think we get caught up in this maladaptive perfectionism where we're telling ourselves, but I need to do it in just the right way, otherwise it's not going to count. And this holds us back. Really, we want to get started even when we're not feeling that things are just right. Thanks for listening, and as always, if you'd like support with taking these steps, I do offer a free discovery call. To get that, you can head over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. Many thanks, and I'll see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.